Okay, good morning, guys. So we'll see about the auto login strategy now, and then we will go ahead with this next set of topics. Hmm. So when we were talking regarding the login, see, this is what will generally happen. The moment you click on login, sorry, registration, it would ask you for some details. You would you would enter those details, and the moment you click on register button, ideally it should send you some email saying that activate your activate your profile, probably by sending you a link. To your email ID, or probably it should send you some activation code to your phone number, and you have to enter it. Or there can be captcha. There can be several things. Okay, ideally speaking, that will happen immediately after the customer is registered. Okay, and you will not be asked for a login. You will not be asked for a login. The moment you register, you will not be asked for a login. You register and you don't log in. First time it will automatically log in for you. From the second time onwards, you should log in. For the in Hybris itself will not just Hybris. You do one thing, you try to create a profile on Google, or probably uh, Facebook. Google as in my meaning Gmail. You create a profile. For the first time, you will automatically log in. It will not ask you for entering your password. Okay. So here, if you see till here, one second. Till here, if you see, till here your complete data, your complete customer was registered. Okay, till here. From here, if you see, the auto login strategy has been called. Okay, immediately after your registration is done, see what is the general flow. Here you got you came to the controller, you took the data object. From the data object, you have this data object you have passed to the facade layer. In the facade layer, you created your model. From the model, you have in the model you have populated the values. You have sent it back to your service layer where you saved it, and you have traced it back and again reached your controller. In the controller, the next step, if you see, for particular registration module, you have something called auto login strategy. Okay, auto login strategy is an internal strategy API. Strategy is also a part of strategies and events, etc., interceptors. These are the concepts that are present in Hybris, so we can just explore them. If you see, you have something called auto login strategy, and you have something called login. The method here is login. Okay, you can use this internally. For example, there is a functionality that is there for you which requires a user to be auto logged in. Then you can use this particular login strategy. Okay, you need to pass the uh, details of your first name, or sorry, your email, and your password, whatever that was entered in the form. Okay, or you can also pick it, because you are setting it in the data object. You can also pick from the data object whatever is comfortable. You can give those values here. Okay, if you see here, uh, guys, what should generally happen? Tell me this. I am an anonymous customer. I have added items into my cart. Now I log in. What will happen to the cart? What will happen to the cart? I'm an anonymous customer. I have arrived onto a website. I have added items into my cart, and then I logged in. What will happen to the cart? We've seen this.
Cart conversion cart entry will be created
Card
under
should not be
to
associated.
No, sorry. What will happen?
cart transfer to
Cart
the
cart transfer will happen to the logged in customer. Now that should happen immediately after login, right? That means you are assume now in a real time case you have just arrived onto the website, and you have added items into your cart, then you started registration. Immediately a new profile was created for you. Now immediately after creating a new profile, your the card that was there for the anonymous customer should now be transferred to your real profile, right? Guys, yes or no?
Yes.
So that should happen immediately after your login. If you see here, first of all, they are registering your information with your facade till here. Okay. After that, it is immediately calling your login API. Now in the auto login strategies login API, the moment you see here, there is this you know authentication being done, till here your authentication is done. Hmm? After that, you see something called login success. This is one of the most important method. If you understand this done, okay. If you see that there is this login success method. Now if you see here, what are they trying to do is the first thing that the first thing to do is to try to change the user on the session card. So first of all, after the user is registered, immediately after the user is logged in, internally the card transfer should happen. So what are they trying to do? Using the services, etc., etc., they are trying to find out whether the session is having a card. Get card service dot has session card. That means it returns a boolean. Does it have a cart in the session or not? If there is a cart, then change the current cart user and get the current user from your session. So in case at any point of time you are trying to get customer model who is the current customer who's in the session, if you are trying to get the current customer who is there in the session, you can use this. Get user service dot get current user will give you the current user in your session. Okay, this is how you can get your current user. Okay, after changing the cart from X to Y, this is what we were seeing in the API call. In case your customer is registered, in case your user is registered or logged in, what should happen is the cart transfer should happen. Cart transfer as in you are assigning a different person to the cart. That is what should happen. From the code wise, this is what will happen. If you are not sure, if you are not convinced that this is what is this is not printing my exact related data, how can I find out that this is the current user and all? Do one thing, write a sys out and say get user service dot get current user dot get first name or whatever it is. You get that, you will be able to see the data being printed on your console. So this is what is happening. Now this is being called in your auto login strategy. I see somebody unmuting. Anybody having a doubt? Okay, guys, if you don't have a doubt, please try to mute yourself because there's a background sound being heard. Okay, now if you see here in your auto login strategy, because this auto login strategy is called immediately after your facade, right? Immediately after your registration that has been done, they are calling this auto login strategy. This auto login strategy is first of all making sure that the user is logged in. By here, the user has already been logged in automatically. By here your user is automatically registered. If you put a what should I say, debug point, you'll understand this. By here your user is auto logged in, okay, because of the authentications, etc., etc., and stuff. Now you see that the user is calling something called login success. In the login success, if you see, first of all, the thing that is happening here is the cart is being assigned to a new user. So the session cart has been changed to a new user. Now that it has been changed to a new user, the next things are if there are any default settings that can be done. So the moment customer is logged in, immediately customer is created and customer is logged in, your BTG rules that were related to customer rules, all of those will be triggered. So the moment it is triggered, all the customer related aspects are loaded. After that, your session currencies, etc., whatever is suitable, what if the customer has set some options, so you have to set all those options as per your cart. So once you do that, immediately you can see the price recalculation can also be done, because see, generally speaking, um, uh, there will be certain conditions. In Middle East, generally the telecom companies or any of the famous retailers, they will have something like this. If you are a Singaporean, if you are a Singaporean, then you will be given some 10% discount. If you are a foreigner, you will be given exact price. Okay, so there will be differentiation in identifying a customer. So different customers will be having different amounts of prices for the same product. Okay, if you are a person who's based out of Singapore, then you will have this much amount of price for a product. The same product, if you are trying to buy, as a foreigner, you will have a different value. So the moment you are registered, I should identify whether you are a Singaporean or whether you are a foreigner. So based on which I have to recalculate my cart. So that's how your new prices, etc., can be loaded. So here it is ideal by default. Hybris itself is giving you with the cart. Uh, Recalculating your cart. In case you are also having a logic wherein new prices should be loaded for different kinds of customers, or probably once the user is logged in, some promotions, etc., should be internally applied. So you will have to change it in the login success method, because that should happen immediately after the login, right? Remember this: if something needs to happen immediately after login, you have to modify your login success method that is present in auto login strategy. So this is where you can modify your logic about what things needs to be done immediately after the login. After that, they are setting some cookies, and then the remember me services. You know about the remember me, right? That is also cookie only. So those things. So this is about your auto login strategies. Similarly, Hybris is offering you some strategies. If you see here in the facade layer, in this registration also, you see something called customer name strategy. Customer name strategy is also nothing out of the blue. See here, generally speaking, from the register data, you are getting first name and last name. But when you try to create a customer in Hybris, he will only have name. In the form, I will ask you first name and last name, but ideally in my database I will store it as a single column only. So I should concatenate both of them. So that is my customer name strategy. Okay, in customer name strategy, I have this get name method. If you try to open this, you will find out that they are trying to concatenate using the operators. Okay, so trimming the spaces and probably something like that. It's nothing but a simple business logic that you'll write. Very simple business logic which can be used across. So probably get name, this particular concatenation might have been used across several places. So that is why they have separated it as a separate method. In case you are not interested, you can as well directly do it here itself. It's all up to you. If you use strategies, then the methods then the API can be used at several places. Otherwise, you are bounded only to that particular class. So something like that. So strategies are also a part of Hybris. You can use your strategies in several ways. There are several strategies in cart also. You will have strategies in registration also. You just have to put a debugger and see immediately after something is happening with respect to facade in the front end flow. Generally speaking, the strategies are invoked so that rest of the logics can be identified, or even strategies are used internally in the facade layer itself. So it all depends on the kind of functional case you are working on. I have told you the end to end of your registration module, so you can directly put that you have worked on registration module. In that kind of way, I wanted to train you, so I have told you one module end to end, not just one module. We have even talked about catalog management, and we have also seen about our user management. So I have told you some 3-4 heavy APIs, internal details. Some things we have even seen from the cart controller, address controller. So I have told you quite a lot of API. So don't worry, you can project yourself as a professional Hybris developer. Okay, if you have any doubts till here, only till here, you can talk to me, because I will be starting my Impex topic today. Any doubts regarding auto login strategy? At least can one of you confirm, saying that we can move ahead?
Yeah, we can proceed, Kiran.
Okay. Okay, guys. Just give me 1 minute. Just give me 1 minute. I'll be on mute. Okay, I'm getting a phone call. Just give me 1 minute. We are done with so much a part of our API. Like I told you, the only pending topics now are Impex. Then we have for Impex will take close to 2 hours. Then we have cron jobs and workflow, which will together take 1 hour. Then Solar and some miscellaneous stuff. Maximum we are going to complete our classes in the next 3 hours. Maximum three to 4 hours. And JSPs are also left out. Simple JSP concept about your page templates, etc. Content slots that would also take close to some half an hour or something. So 3.5 hours, and we'll be done with our hybrid classes. Okay. Here, if you see the concept of Impex. Impex is a hybrid word which stands for import and export. Okay, both import and export. We use the concept of Impex to load data or to take backup of our data. Okay, both the ways it is only Impex. Now, why did they come up with the concept of Impex? I have already told you. See here, let's assume that you are having a Hybris application. In your local, you are connected to HSQL, let's say. Okay, you are pushing all your code into a central environment, and in the central environment, let's say that you are connected to Oracle SQL or probably MySQL or MS SQL. Now, if you are trying to write insert into table scripts, okay, that script, the syntax that you write in HSQL might not work in Oracle SQL. The syntax that you use in your MySQL might not work in your Oracle SQL. It might not be compatible because syntaxes change with respect to every database. So in like how we had a problem with our flexible search query, in case I write a query in native query language, it might not work across all the database language, all the databases. In a similar way, if I am trying to write a insert into table script in one database, that might not work in another database. Syntax and all changes. This is where is our problem. That is why Hybris has come up with a concept of Impex. One file, okay, one line that you write in one database, normal in a framework, will work across all the database that it is supporting to. So let's say you are trying to take a backup from your local, and you are trying to give it to your friend or to any other central environment. You are supposed to write an Impex file for that. So one file which is compatible across everything. Since see, you have insert into table name and then columns, and then you would be having values, and you would have values entered here, right? And then this is the general syntax that you have to write to in order to insert data into a table. The same thing with respect to Hybris. When you try to write your this Impex statement. See, Impex is nothing but it's something like a .txt document. You have a .txt .doc. In a similar way, you would be having some file called .impex. This is what you would be having. Okay. Similar to how you have .txt, .doc, you have something called .impex. It's nothing but a simple file, that's it. Okay. Now, if you see here carefully, your impex file is generally written in your initial data extension or your core extension. Okay, which one contains what we will see. Okay, now the same insert into table name script in your impex will change into insert underscore update, or you can use insert item type followed by attributes. Okay, so this is what is the general syntax. Instead of writing insert into table name, because in Hybris you are working on the top of item types instead of tables, here you will try to insert data into item types. Now the general syntax is insert underscore update. You can use insert also. I'll tell you what is the importance of everything. See here, insert underscore update. Okay, so this is the general syntax, that instead of insert into table name, columns and values, you would say insert underscore update, item type and attributes. Okay, now if you try to understand any impex, every impex is divided into three parts. Okay, three parts you can divide an impex file. The first part is called macro. Okay, these are replacement parameters. I am assuming you guys know about hash pragma. Anybody from C++ background? I think everybody is from C++ background only, but anyone specific who's got good amount of knowledge? Remember your engineering days. In C, if at all you need to create a constant, you would use something called hash pragma. Hash is the preprocessor call. You have hash include stio.h, hash include conio.h, and then you have hash pragmas. Those are replacement values. When you try to create a huge, probably you want to create something related to stack or queue, a huge chunk of data, then you will try to use that hash pragmas. Whenever hash pragmas are used, they will be replaced. Those are called macros in C. The same thing. Word macro is derived more or less from the central programming language itself. The same terminology. Macro means it's a replacement parameter. Okay. Now, what is that? We'll see. And where and all we will use also we'll see. The second part of your the impex is called header. Okay, this is your statement that contains the item type and column names. Okay, so which item type, which column names, everything in detail it will contain. Now the third part of your impex is data. Okay, which data are you inserting into what column, so of what item type? That is what is the most important one. Now if you see here, all of these three together will form your impex file. Okay, out of which this is an optional one. It may be there, it may not be there. Okay, now the general syntax, like I told you, for example, let's say I have created my own item type. How can I write script for that? How can I write my own impex file for that? You need to have a header and you need to have data. If you have both of them, you can go ahead with your work. So your work will start something like this. If you see, I have insert underscore update, my item type, colon, attribute 1, semicolon, attribute 2, semicolon, attribute 3, and follow it, and then say attribute n. See here, the delimiter between two columns here is semicolon. The delimiter between two columns here is semicolon. Now when you are trying to insert something, you will insert into the columns of a table, right? You will insert something into the columns of a table. first of all, you should start your insertion technique with an empty semicolon. See here, start with an empty semicolon, because you are not inserting anything into this. This is the table into which you are inserting. So you are not giving a value for your table, right? Table is the name of your table. This is the name of your item type. So you need not give any value for this. You have to start your value from here. You can say 100 or 1000, and then 2000, 20,000, or 30,000, something like this. You can just go ahead and you can give your values. Okay, so which column you are giving what value, you are supposed to tell it this way. So into this item type, I am trying to insert a row with these values. That is what I am trying to say. So the delimiter between any two columns is semicolon. Okay, between column 1 to column 2, the delimiter here is semicolon. So you need, when you are trying to insert multiple values into multiple columns, okay, you are supposed to use semicolon as your delimiter. Just remember this point. Okay, now after this, if you see, I have this is very easy, that this column, this value, this column, this value, I understand it. But what if one column is accepting multiple values? So I have a collection type column. Delimiters will not be changed. It is the same concept. Okay, can we change the delimiter from semicolon to hash or whatever? Yes, we can certainly do that. Do we do that? Never we will do that. Okay, Hybris is giving us a provision to change our delimiter, but that doesn't mean we'll change our delimiter, because that is a standard. If somebody from other project also joins your project, for him to write an impex file, this is the standard. So generally go ahead with this. Okay, so for collection types you can use comma. For normal types, you can as it is insert your data. Now these are your attributes, right? So you have certain properties that you can write along with this. So for example, here I can say unique equal to true. Okay, for this particular column, I'll say unique equal to true. That means if somebody, let's say, is writing your impex file, okay, he might not be knowing about your data model, right? He might not be knowing about your data model. So he should know which columns are unique columns, which columns are not unique columns. If you have only one unique column in your attribute, in your item type, that means it's a primary key. So you cannot use 3000 again, 3000 again in any of the next set of rows. So if you are trying to give if you are trying to create one more row, the next row should not contain 3000 for your third column. Attribute 3 should not have 3000. It should have any other value, because you have mentioned unique equal to true. Let's say there are two such columns. There is one more column which is having unique equal to true. Then it is a composite primary. Okay, composite primary key. If you mention something like this, that means you are having your two columns here. The first column is the combination 10,000 comma 3000 should not be repeated. That is what you are saying. So by looking at this, I can understand, okay, this is what is being conveyed. Okay, in a similar way, you have several such properties. For example, let's say there is one attribute which is a localized attribute. If there is an attribute which is a localized attribute, so that means that can accept different values for different languages. You can give. So while inserting data, let's say you want to insert the value only for English. So what you can do is, here you can mention something as lang equal to en. If you mention language equal to en, this value will be entered only for the English language. That one. If let's say you want to insert value for German also, then you will have to use something like ATTN. Then you will have to say language equal to D. So when you do this, here you will have to mention it as some 2000. Okay. So this is how you'll have to mention. So when it reads English language, in the English language it will insert 1000 value. In the German language it will try to insert 2000 value. For the same column, two different values for two different languages. So you can mention which language and all. If you don't mention, then it will try to take the default language, whatever is assigned in your website level, that particular language it will take. Okay, so this is, you can use several such combinations. Okay, we will see each and everything in detail. As we progress through, we will see it, but for now I just wanted to give you a rough idea about how to create your impex file. Now this is called your header, this is called your data. Now ideally in your normal SQL, what do? You copy this one and you paste it. You have this kind of this kind of concept where you insert multiple values and you will prepare a huge repeated thing. You will have insert into table name, columns and values will always be same. Okay, here these values will be changed. That is what will happen in any kind of normal SQL file. Now if you try to see the same thing in an impex file, you will write header only once. From the next time onwards, what you are supposed to do is just insert the values. Okay, you are just trying to insert values. So you will have something like this. You will have something like this. You will not write your header again, one header which contains multiple data. So this is all your data. Make sure you are following the constraints that are put here. Okay, you are having so much of data that you are trying to enter. You will write only one header. So this is your header and this is your data. Okay, this is your data and this is your header. Now what is the use of this insert underscore update is, insert underscore update is a place f1. Why do you require insert underscore update is, let's say you want to when you are inserting, you don't want some errors to be thrown because the row is already existing. Let's say this row is already existing. If you say insert underscore update, the actual implementation of insert underscore update is, it will first of all check whether the row is already there. It will first of all check whether the row is already there. If the row is there, it will try to update it with the values that you have. If there is no change in the values, it will not at all update it. First of all, if the row is there, it will try to update it. If there is no change, no problem. If there is change, it will update. Then if the row itself is not there, then it will try to create a new row. So insert underscore update does these things in this order. It will first of all try to update if there is any data with the same data that you are trying to create. Otherwise, it will try to insert a new row. So insert underscore update is a place f1. If you only use insert, you can also use only insert. Instead of insert underscore update, you can use insert. If you use insert, then what will happen is, if there is a row with the same ID combination, that if there is a row existing with the same ID combination, then what will happen is it will throw an error saying that data already exists. Okay, if you try to go for an update by mentioning some column, by mentioning some rows for which the columns are not at all there, okay, such a column does not exist, then it will again throw an error saying that the column is not there. So instead of doing that kind of technique, better go with insert underscore update, so that you will be having that kind of, what should I say, a better technique to know, okay, this is what is my data and this is how it is running. Okay, we'll just try to see one such impex and we will try to execute it. Okay, for our convenience, I will try to open some simple impexes for the first time. Tomorrow we will see about some complex impexes. Okay, by tomorrow we'll complete our impex topic. Here if you see, I have something called countries.impex. Okay, if you see here, this is what is your impex, and if you see, you are having a header and you are having data. This is all your data. Okay, and then you have the header mentioned here at the top. This is your header. So what is it trying to say? Let's try to copy this particular so hash in your I forgot to tell you this. Hash in your impex file is a comment, so you need not give a damn about this. It's waste. It's waste for us. Okay, so this hash is nothing but a comment. You need not even bother about it. Okay, if you see here, I'm just copying the header and I'm copying the data. Okay, and I'm pasting it here. Okay, if you see carefully, they are trying to insert some value into an item type called country. ISO code is the column name into which they are trying to insert a value called AD, and name is a column into which they are trying to insert value as Andorra. Okay, name of language equal to EN. So in EN English language, they are trying to give Andorra. So that means this is this localized attribute, and they have another column called active, which is defaultly set to true. If in case I want to set it to false, I can say false. If I can override this, if I don't give any value for this, that means it's a uh, this one. What should I say? It's a default value which is being taken from the table's definition, or probably from your impex definition. Okay, now I'll just try to load this impex. In order to load this impex, first of all, let's open our HMC and see. I'll try to open the HMC. And I will also open the HAC. See here, we have our internationalization tab in which we have our countries. So I'm just clicking on the countries, and I see something called yes AD Andorra. Just open this. Okay, I have AD Andorra, and the active column set as yes, because it's true there. You have name, which is a localized attribute. In the English version of your Andorra, you are trying to give it as Andorra, and this is ISO code which you are trying to give it as AD. Now I will try to change the value of this without touching on my HMC. So probably here I'll not try to right click and say create country, or probably I don't go here and manually modify this. I will do it via an impex file. So how would I do it? See here, I would just change the value of this to, let's say, um, let's say some new value like okay, Dilshuk Nagar. Okay, this is one of the famous places in Hyderabad. I'll just try to copy this. I'll open the console. If you remember, we have this impex import, right? So I go here, I paste it. Okay, and then I say validate the content. Import script is valid, and then I'll say import content. Import is finished. Now you go here and then just refresh it and say okay. If you see, the data is now changed. So for this particular row, the value is being changed from A to B, whatever value I have given. In a similar way, I want to create some thousands of columns, thousands of rows. No problem. Copy all of this. Copy all of this along with the header. The data in the header should be copied. Go here, go back, copy it, validate it. Once the import script is valid, import the content. Now anyways, it's restored back to Andorra, right? This now should be Andorra again. it's restored back to Andorra. So here it is. You write your impex, you load your impex, your complete data will be loaded. So in case you want to load bulk data, this is how you'll have to do it. If you are getting a bulk data, you are, say for example, you have created so much of data in your database, you will have to take a backup. How to take a backup? We'll have to understand it. That takes a little time. So once you take a backup, then you will have to basically you will get the backup in the form of an impex file. Take that impex file, give it to your friend, or check in that impex file. Whenever somebody checks out the file, they can get the data in the form of the impex, and you can load your impex. Okay, you can manually load your impex, or you can even programmatically load your impex. I'll tell you all possible combinations. Okay, so this is what is the general idea of your impex. In case you are interested to know more and more and more, you are more passionate about writing your own impex scripts at a very larger scale. Anyways, we'll see one of the largest confusing header, and we will try to solve that. For every item type, see, if you are creating an item type, you are simple funda. If you are trying to load data into an item type, you need to go with an impex. As simple as that. I have an item type, I want to load data into my item type, I should go with my impex. That's it. For a table, you will have SQL script or MySQL script or a HSQL script or your MS SQL script. But for an item type, you will have impex. Okay. Now, if you go here in the advanced material, I have already given it to the organizer. If they have already sent you, you can see in the advanced material, I have this impex syntax. Okay. So just open this. It contains everything in detail about your sample headers, everything. In case you are that passionate about writing your own impexes and all. Okay, if you did not get this, you can ask your organizer. They will send you this impex document. Okay, you can see that how your impex will look like. Yeah.
Last time I think we wrote an email. I wrote an email to organizer asking for the advanced material. She sent in link PDF which you already sent some time back. So I don't think they are getting the advancement. No, none of us got advanced material.
Okay, I'll talk to them.
Okay.
So if you see here, if at all you have Wikihybris access, go open your Wikihybris and say impex syntax, you will get this one only. If you are having Wikihybris access, you need not even wait for me to send, because whatever I'm sending you, these documents are just that I have, in Wikihybris, it's very difficult to search for a particular concept. It's very difficult.
That's a problem.
Yeah. So I have refined them out of my own experience. I have collected some useful documents and I have put them together. That is what I'm giving you as advanced material. That's it. So if you see here, guys, just scroll down. That and all is all your information about what an impex file is, etc., and stuff. Okay, scroll down. See, this is how your header should look like. This is how your impex header has the following structure. About header, it is giving you everything. What is the mode, what is the type, what is the attribute, what is the modifier. See, this is my attribute, this is my modifier. Like I told, unique equal to true, lang equal to en. So that is called modifier. Okay. Now mode, what is the type of mode that you are trying to insert? Are you trying to insert or update or insert underscore update? What are you trying to do? Type means the item type into which you are trying to insert the data. Okay. Attribute means the column into which you are trying to insert the data. Modifier means what is the extra information that you are trying to give. Okay. Scroll down. This is how your insert underscore update will look like. This is the header will look like. This is your insert underscore update, category, code, unique equal to true, name, language equal to DEDN, whatever it is. Now this dollar is there, right? Here you have something called dollar. This is your macro. Okay. Now what is a macro? How are we going to use it? We require some time for discussion regarding that. So we'll see that as a part of tomorrow's class most probably. We see this is how your impex will look like. Okay. Then if you just scroll down, the header mode can be of different kinds. What you can use insert. Now what is an insert? This will explain you about how the insert works. Okay, if you see here, insert means it will create only new item, only one item. So if there is an already existing item, it will try to throw an error. So see here, by default impex does not check if an item with the same attribute already exists. Therefore, trying to insert item with a code that already exists may throw an exception caused by Hybris Commerce Suite code. For that reason, it is recommended to use unique modifier. So whenever you are using insert, always go with your unique modifier. It's not just about insert underscore update also, but the point here is when you are using insert, it only inserts the data. So it assumes that there is the data that you are entering below is not present till now. If the data is already present, you cannot insert the same row, another row with the same primary key, right? So it will try to throw an error. So that's what will happen. Similarly, you have update. Instead of insert underscore update, you can use insert alone or you can use update alone. If you are using update alone, then it will assume that the row is already existing. In insert, it will assume row is not existing. In update, it will assume that the row is already existing and it will try to update. If there is no row, then it will try to throw an error. So here, if you read the above statements that are there in against your update, you will try to understand. So here this will tell you about that only, whatever I'm telling. I'm just telling you the summary of it. You can, if in case you are interested, you can read more about it. So here you have some update related headers and the data that you have. The ideal one, which is always used no matter where, is insert underscore update. Insert underscore update is the combination of your insert and update. First of all, it will check for an update and then it will go for an insert. Okay, so that is what. So insert underscore update is the best one. In a similar way, in case you want to remove data that is present in the database, you can use remove. So if you use remove, it will try to delete the data. In general enterprise application, guys, applications, we will never try to delete. So guys, remember this point. In case we are trying to delete data from an enterprise application in your project, you can use remove in your impex. But generally speaking, we will not do that. It's logical deletion. It's not physical deletion. Nobody will generally delete data from your database because they always want data to be there, but logically they will try to remove. When you say I am removing an element from stack, that doesn't mean physically you are deleting an element. You are reducing the top counter by minus 1. So that means instead of iterating from 0 to 10, you are iterating from 0 to 9. If you say a of 10, you will still get the value. You are not iterating over the complete loop. Okay, the point here is you are reducing the counter, you are reducing the loop counter by 1 value from the back. So that means instead of looping 10 elements, you are looping only 9 elements. If you say a of 10, again you will get the same 10th value only. Whatever was there in your 10th position, you will still get that. The point here is you are doing a logical deletion. In a similar way, you can create something called is active, is inactive, some kind of flag, and you might not be displaying the data. So generally speaking, you will not delete. In case you are supposed to delete, you can go ahead and use your remove script. Okay, there are several designs. At the end of the day, it all depends on what your technical architect and your client suggests. Okay, I'm just telling you the standard which is accepted worldwide. If in case you are not interested, you want a physical deletion to be done pakka as a mandatory thing, go ahead, write your remove script. Okay, so that's how you can eliminate data from your database. In a similar way, the header, that is what is your header type. Okay, then if you see your header attributes, attribute doesn't mean anything. It just means your column. Anybody is having a doubt? I see somebody unmuting. Sorry.
Kiran, can you hear me?
Yeah, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, some of the values have been in double quotes, and there was another value which was not in double quotes. Like,
no, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. It doesn't make any difference.
Okay, and we have the unique identifier, right? I mean, why do we have it here? Since we already have it at the item type level, when we define it.
See, okay. Let's say you have created table. You created a table. I am writing the table script for that. Okay, insert into table name for that. Now tell me, if I don't know the table structure, can I write my insert into table name?
No, we need to know the structure. Yes.
So you write it. You left the project. Now I am writing the impacts for your item type. Should I know the data type? Should I know what are the different columns that are there and what are the different modifiers that are there? When I'm writing insert into, so that's why you will have to mention certain properties by here. So that is what I'm trying to show you now. If you just scroll down, here, you have some modifiers. So you can use several modifiers. You can use batch mode equal to true. Now what is the importance of batch mode you have here? In a similar way, you have cache unique, and then you have processor, then you have Impex legacy mode. If somebody is asking you about legacy mode, just tell them this. Okay, then you have only export, only import, and then you have allow null, cell decorator, collection delimiter, date format, default, force write, ignore case null, language, map, mode, and you have number format, path delimiter, POS, translator, unique. This is what you are saying. Sunil, go ahead, read this slowly.
Mark this column as a key attribute, that is, the value is used to determine whether the item is unique or not. Impex uses the combination of the values of all the key attributes to check whether the item already exists. This means that in case of unique equal to true, each combination of the values of all the key attributes in a row must be unique. Each row must provide a unique set of values for them, since there may be multiple key attributes, which are used to check whether or not an item already exists.
So you read this particular line by line, you will be able to understand why it is. For better example, for better idea, if you see here at the header level itself, read this.
By default, Impex does not check if an item with the same attributes already exists. Therefore, trying to insert an item with a code that already exists may throw an exception caused by the high-risk Commerce Suite code. For that reason, it is recommended to use the unique modifier where Impex pre-checks the violation of attribute uniqueness.
So
Okay.
you are doing an exception handling. That is what will happen. So that, like I
Okay.
told you, if you read this document, everything will be answered for you. Okay. So how
Okay.
to write a macro also is there in this. So I'll send you this document over. Okay. So more or less you will be able to understand how to insert data into different kinds of data types. Or how do you define your macro? See, like I told you, dollar is about your macro. So how do you define your macro? What is the importance of your macro? All that stuff is there, which we'll have to see tomorrow. I don't want to start it abruptly because I would require some quality time to talk about it. I cannot start it now and abruptly start tomorrow. Okay, so because it's a 10 to 15 minutes topic altogether, so we are just 4 minutes short of our class, right? So we will see that concept tomorrow only. Okay, so in case you have any other doubts, you can talk to me, or we are done for the day, guys. You can just drop off from the call. Tomorrow we will see how to execute our Impex, how to take a backup, and what are the additional things that we have in Impex. All that stuff we'll see tomorrow. Okay, in case you have any doubts, stay back. Otherwise, you can leave.
Kiran, Abhilash here.
Yeah, one second, Abhilash. Wasim, I just saw your mail. So you want to take a direct backup of direct data from your code from your QA environment. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, everything from QA.
So in case you want to take everything from QA, copy paste the complete hybrid suite.
I don't have system level access to that machine. That is at some other
install
company.
install SVN, and then check in only the custom folder and config folder. Okay, into some new branch, create a new branch, try to check in only the custom and the config folder, because the rest of the folders are created at the environment level itself, right? Once you extract your suite, you'll get all the other extensions. Only that two extension those only two folders, config and custom folder, is only not got for you, right? So try to check in that particular folders and check out those folders again at your local. connecting to that branch. You got my point? So you'll have a same setup only, right? Same suit you used to set up in your local also.